Morning folks, come to the Isle of Portland this morning and thought I'd show you some of its natural beauties. Trouble is it's shrouded in fog, so it's not the best plan really, but I'll give it a go. Hopefully the fog will clear later on. Yeah, this place is full of natural beauty. Stories of wartime, stories of naval stuff, stories of pirates, and stories to do with local industry as well. So plenty to talk about as I'm going around, plenty for me to bore you with if you like, but we'll have a go, we'll see what happens. So join me as I walk around the coast path and try to take in some of this natural beauty.
After climbing the first hill, I came to Tout Quarry Sculpture Park. There's over 60 sculptures here, some from well-known artists. Probably the best known is called Still Falling. It's by Anthony Gormley. I couldn't find that one unfortunately though. Oh look, stupid cameraman ends up in his own filming. Schoolboy error.
Now I wanted to show people what a beautiful coastline we've got down here and what rocky beauty there is. But the best way to do it is to start a YouTube channel. So here I am. I'm not very good at this. Never really done it before. Yeah, I've got a couple of films out there, but I really don't know much about vlogging, and here I am vlogging. Really don't know much about video editing, but I've got to do that. Cinematic photography, but I'll have a go. Might be a bit rough around the edges at first, apologies for that. Bear with me, it'll get better as I get more practice. So what I should have said at the start is how unique this island is, because it's not like the rest of the coast path really. You see us trying to dodge puddles. Where most of the island is like one big quarry pit in many ways. It's just, look at this, this is not, don't get this in all the rest of the coast path. Not quite like this, I don't think. Someone's going to come on here and tell me otherwise now. Great. Tell me where, I'll go and visit it. Can't wait.
This is the first in a series of bite-sized coastpath films that I'm doing. I'll be visiting different places around the southwest coast path, showing you some of the sights, bringing you some of the stories. If any of that sounds interesting to you, or if you just want to follow my little series and see if I get any better at filmmaking, then maybe you should think about subscribing so you don't miss any of the rest of the series.
Little inland diversion due to more rockfalls. There's two of them I've got to deal with now. It's because we've had a pretty bad winter. But there's good and bad about that. Obviously it's bad to see the rock fall away, but it does uncover hidden treasures in terms of fossils. What with this being the Jurassic coast, fossils turn up from not the Jurassic but the Triassic and the Cretaceous periods all along the coast here, and it's something I'll talk about later on in other videos probably. Just coming around the Blacknor Fort now, so let me just show you that. Didn't know I'd get an image like that of it. It's over there. I'll try and get some pictures of it when I get there, although not too much because it is a private residence now, so I don't want to get myself in trouble. But it's got an interesting history. Built start of 1900, 1902 I think it was finished. Built to protect Portland Harbour. Had the unfortunate situation of having to witness the Slapton Sands Massacre. Yes, the Slapton Sands Massacre was Second World War D-Day rehearsal they were doing down at Slapton Sands, and German E-boats attacked and pretty much massacred a lot of them, hence the name. The battery at Blacknor Fort were given the orders to fire and to shoot at the Germans, and then the order was reversed, given that they could well end up killing the American soldiers there themselves. So you just had to sit there and watch it whilst German E-boats came in and pretty much massacred a lot of them. So the other thing Blacknor Fort's known for is in 2004 they had a bit of a land dispute there. There's 2 bungalow owners there. Basically on the site there were 2 bungalows, and they had an agreement between the 2 of them that if one of them sold their bungalow, they'd give the other first refusal. So when one of them decided to sell, the other one decided to offer him $55,000 for his bungalow. So the offer wasn't considered to be anything like the right kind of offer. So we invited the fella to his bungalow and shot him, like you do. The guy survived, the other guy got sent to prison, and he died in prison, suspected suicide. And that's Pulpit Rock. Apparently there was a natural arch there originally, and Quarryman dismantled it for some reason. What they've done now though is by leaning that rock against it, the idea is it looks like an open Bible leaning against a pulpit. It stood the test of time, to be fair. I mean, it's been there how many years, and it's still a major feature on the landscape of Portland. If you paid a modern day artist to do that for you, it'd probably cost you £1 million or more, someone like Damien Hirst or whatever. However, those quarrymen probably got just a normal day's wages, which wasn't really much probably.
Just a few shots of Portland Bill for you. Please excuse my dodgy camera work.
I've just done lunch in the Lobster pot up at Portlandville, and it was very nice. Wasn't what I expected actually. I thought it was going to be a bit of a spit and sawdust cafe, but it's a bit more upmarket than that, I have to say. One thing though, here's me trying to talk people into coming down here. I've just caught the sound of more Cockney accents in there than I've heard in a long time. There's apparently 4,000 of these waymarker signs along the southwest coast path over the 630 miles. So it makes it fairly easy to keep on course. The best thing about these signs though is they were put here by fairies. Okay, I lied, there's no fairies. But there's a hell of a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make sure this path stays in a walkable condition and an accessible condition for you and me. The Southwest Coastpath Association, for example, spent £10,000 last year alone just repairing those signs, let alone all the other work they do.
Now I come to think of it, for all the work that the Southwest Coastpath Association does, whether it be putting up these waymarker signs, building steps into the cliff so that it saves erosion, building bridges for people to cross, I never seem to see them doing any of it. So in that respect, they are really like coast path fairies. So I'm going back to my original comment.
I read a book recently of Dorset Folk Tales, And there was a very interesting story, well I thought anyway, about a Portland quarryman. So perhaps I should share it with you. There was a quarryman named Bob, way back in the distant past, and he was quarrying away, chipping away at the rock with his pick, as he had done all his working life, as his father had done all his working life before him. And suddenly he could hear the sound of music. So he stood up, walked over to a better vantage point, and there in the distance you could see across to the beach of Weymouth, and King George was there, getting out of his bathing machine. There was a whole band playing, fanfare for King George. So he thought to himself, this quarrying like's not for me. Look at King George down there, he's so powerful, I wish I was a king. And in a second there was a clap of thunder, bolt of lightning, and suddenly he was a king. Had a flash robe on, crown on his head. All the quarrymen around came and bowed down at his feet. So did the boss, who'd never ever spoken to him before. And he loved it. He got himself a carriage, and he was the King of Weymouth. Weymouth and Portland, going around on in his carriage. People would come out in the streets to see him. And one day he noticed nobody came out in the street to see him. And then he realised why. Because it was a lovely sunny day, and they'd all gone to the beach. Gone down to the beach to get under the sun. He thought to himself, that sun's more powerful than me. I wish I was a sun. So all of a sudden, clap of thunder, bolt of lightning, finds himself drifting up into the sky. And all of a sudden, it's the brightest sun you can see anywhere. Shining down, and everybody used to come out, get their towels down on the beach, lay out in front of the sun and worship him. That made him feel good. Until one day, along comes a cloud. Now, this cloud, just across above Weymouth, and all the people out sunbathing put their clothes back on and go indoors. So hang on, that cloud's just stopped my fun. That cloud is more powerful than me. I wish I was a cloud. Clap of thunder, bolt of lightning. All of a sudden it was the biggest, darkest rain cloud you've ever seen. And he loved it. Going storm on Weymouth. There was a rain coming down. Must be this year. Loads of rain coming down, and very wet. Then one day he noticed a river had formed, and all that rain that he was bringing down was just being taken away to the sea. The river would just flow it through. The trees in its path, it would just knock the trees down, take the water to the sea. He thought to himself, wow, that river's more powerful than me. I wish I was a river. Guess what? Clap of thunder, bolt of lightning. All of a sudden he's a river. The strongest, most powerful river you've ever seen. Flowing through, ripping trees down, clearing everything in its path. And he loved it. Till one day he noticed at the bottom of the river, his river, there was a rock. He couldn't go through this rock. The river would just hit this rock, couldn't go through it, he'd have to go left, right or over. That's all the river could do. It could not displace this rock. Oh, he thought to himself, you guessed it, this rock's more powerful than me. I wish I was a rock. Yeah, clap of thunder, bolt of lightning, it's getting boring now, isn't it? All of a sudden he's a rock. Most hardest, powerful, biggest rock you've ever imagined. And he loves it for many, many years. One day he becomes aware of an itching feeling on top of him, and soon realises that there's a quarryman on top of him, slowly chipping away at the rock with his pick, and he knows that slowly but surely, eventually, that quarryman will break through the rock and break it in half. And that's when he realises he's come full circle. Now, I've got my new boots on today. They don't look very new, I must admit. But I have used them not only today, but for a few dog walks as well when I was breaking them in. And we've had to deal with Storm Kiara, Storm Dennis, Storm George. So the ground's pretty wet around here. So my boots aren't as clean as they should be. Let's see if I can remember what they're called. North Face Ultra Fast Pack 4 Future Light. Try saying that after a few beers. The main difference between any boots they've made before and these ones is that they're using their new Future Light technology, which is their new alternative to Gore-Tex. I'm trying them out. When I finish trying them out and I'm confident enough to say I know a bit about them, I'll put a little review on, and I'll tag it onto the end of this film once I've done it so that you can see it if you're interested. Yeah, just approaching Church Oak Cove now, and I can personally just see the beach now, little bits of the beach, a few beach huts. Let's turn it around and maybe you can see the same. Anyway, we're just going down to the beach now, so see you when we get there. Look at these people have done with their beach huts. Made their own front gardens out of the rocks. Clever, isn't it? I suppose I didn't have to come down to the beach, but then again, yes I did. This is me. Born and bred to be a beach bum, I think. And with a beach like that, can you blame me? Look at it. There is something you should know if you're going to come to Portland. Because there is a word you really shouldn't use. It all goes back to the quarrying days, the early quarrying days. if there was a landslip or a landslide, or a rockfall or anything of that nature, the quarryman would be able to recall a story of earlier that day, seeing bunnies digging holes and burrowing in that area. You can tell I'm getting out of breath now because I'm climbing. So naturally, poor little furry thing's got the blame for the rockfalls. It just became a bigger and bigger superstition, and now the R word, don't want to use that here on the island, I'm telling you that now. Bunnies, yeah. Underground mutton's a favourite, but no R word.
Il y a des autres endroits.
Remind me not to record an important talking bit of the film whilst climbing something very steep like Church Hope Cove back to civilization. After that walk was nearly as good as the bottle of Doom Bar I had at lunchtime. Only nearly. Portland's really well known among the climbing community, and there's loads of places on the island where you can climb. My favourite of them is probably this one we're coming up to now, which is called the Cuttings. It's sport climbing, if you don't know the difference. In terms of rope climbing, you've got three types really. You've got the easiest, the basic, the starter way of climbing, with what they call top roping, where the rope is already up there for you, and you really can't fall very far as long as you've got a good person on the other end of the rope. The middle one will be sport climbing, which is what we've got here, where someone's put bolts into the rock, and these bolts are what you clip into with your rope as you're going up, and you can fall a little way. It is potentially dangerous, but fairly safe. The extreme one will be what they call trad climbing. Trad climbing is you take things with you to put into the rock to make your own protection, to make your own things to put your ropes onto. And I've had a little go at that in the past, and if you're not very experienced, it's a bit hair raising, but interesting. Okay, we've come to the audience participation part of the show. It's okay, don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to get in front of the camera and start doing any talking. All I want is feedback. So what I expect you to do now is scroll to the bottom of the screen, find the comments, and tell me what you think of this little effort of a film of mine. What do you like in it? What don't you like? What would you include that I haven't included? What would you leave out? If you live somewhere down here in the West Country and you've got a favourite bit of coast path, let me know what your favourite bit is. Maybe I'll go there and have a look. Maybe I'll have a little walk around there. That'll be one of my next films, who knows? Use that comment section and we can start a conversation about it.
If you're interested to know any more about the South West Coastpath Association, they've got an excellent website which will give you all the information you need if you do any kind of a walk along here. Even if it's just a day, there's plenty of useful information. If you're interested in knowing any more about Portland, or if you're thinking of maybe visiting Dorset yourself, I'll include a few useful links in the description section of the film. That's about it. We've reached the end of the island. Back to the causeway. Going back to Weymouth. Thanks for watching. See you again next time, hopefully.